Fact check.
Facts.
Fact check. I'm just stating the facts.
Facts. Facts. Fact check. Facts.
I'm stating facts, 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 facts.
All right, so a lot of folks still don't know certain facts, or maybe they believe what the mainstream media tells them, right? False statements continue to be spread if they benefit the presenter's narrative. For example, some people believe that Kyle Rittenhouse crossed state lines with an illegal firearm and shot and or killed black people during the riot in Kenosha, Wisconsin over Jacob Blake shootings. This is false, okay? The firearm was legal. It's not illegal to transport a firearm across the state line. Didn't happen anyway, but right. He shot and killed a recently released pedophile that was chasing him, threatening him, and he thought he was in danger for his life. This guy went and tried to attack Kyle, calling him the N-word and everything, which is weird. Two white guys, one was calling the other one the N-word, but you know, whatever. But going after Kyle repeatedly, and Kyle reached on up and handled business. It was self-defense, and he shot and killed him in self-defense. So he goes to go get the cops, right? And then the next thing happens, some stupid skateboarder dude thought he was going to be a hero, came up and tried to stop him, and he got a chunk of his arm blown off for doing something he shouldn't have done. Trying to whack Kyle in the head with the skateboard, which could have, you know, rendered him unconscious, and they could have taken the gun from him. They could have killed him or something. So again, it's another act of self-defense, but you don't hear that. And both of them were white. He didn't shoot anybody that was black. He didn't go there to kill anybody. But that's the way it's presented a lot of times, right? And now you may not agree with his way of handling things, but the facts are the facts. And they are constantly being misrepresented or straight up lied about. Here's another one. It's often cited that the left, by the left, as one of the worst attacks on American democracy, January 6th, right? It was a violent insurrection, they say. They continue to push that many officers were killed that day protecting the Capitol building. This is false. One person died that day, just one, Ashley Babbitt. Okay. She was climbing through a window or something like that. And she was an unarmed protester. But you know what? Capitol Police shot and killed her. Capitol Police shot and killed her. No one killed any police officers that day. There's still articles out there today saying that someone died of being hit with this. There's no evidence of anything like that. The person that they said died from XYZ, died of natural causes. All that's been exposed. No officers were killed that day in the line of duty. Much respect to them. If they had been, I don't agree with the antics of some of what happened on January 6th, but it wasn't as crazy as one side puts it, and it wasn't as peaceful as the other side put it either. We'll get into that. Okay, so there were no other deaths other than Ashley Babbitt. So speaking of that, on the flip side, right, same day, some on the right will swear that it was just a peaceful protest, that no one really got out of line. Well, we've seen the videos, and we know that that's not true. Right? Protesters clashed with police. They smashed windows, broke doors, and forcefully removed the barricades that were keeping them out. However, a lot of support for this argument is from videos and pictures like this one that does show the protesters being significantly more peaceful than those that participated in protests and riots during the Summer of Love the previous year. A famous image is a CNN reporter standing in front of a city on fire, which happens to be Kenosha, and reporting that it's fiery, but mostly peaceful, right? Fiery, but mostly peaceful. So the right pretty much took that and ran with that too. Oh, it's a mostly peaceful protest. And for the most part, I'll say it probably was, but you've got the mix of everything going on, and it's not fair to say one way or the other. So, you know, to the right, I'd say that is also a false statement. So the mostly peaceful protest that CNN was talking about, fiery but mostly peaceful, that's also wrong. That's false. During the Summer of Love, protests and riots killed more than 25 people. More than 25 people were killed during these. And a lot of these were from rioting and protesting from the murder of 1, 2, or maybe 3 people that may or may not have been justified, but in the pursuit of protesting over that, at least 25 people were killed. That's not very peaceful. Billions of dollars in damages and businesses ruined. Okay. And I'm not saying one is better than the other, but one was excessively more impactful than the other. But January 6th is what just keeps getting pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. And I guess if that's the only one you got against the right, you got to keep pushing it, right? But Summer of Love is just awful. And anyone who says otherwise is being disingenuous, 100% disingenuous. It's just inaccurate to say that it was significantly worse than the Summer of Love. Is void of any truth. It simply is. Now, speaking of CNN and misrepresentation, remember when Joe Rogan got COVID? Not only that, he got COVID and he was prescribed some medication, and CNN said it was horse dewormer, and we're making fun of him, and we're trying to say that anybody who did it was stupid and all this and that, right? Well, the video that they played was doctored to make him look green and more sickly. Okay, side by side, we can see the difference. They even continued the lie that he was taking a horse dewormer and went so far as to put it in front of their face when interviewing their chief medical correspondent. Oh, he did. The chief medical correspondent, Sanjay Gupta, went on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he put in front of him. And when pressed on a live saying he was taking horse dewormer, Gupta only responded with, yeah, CNN shouldn't have said that. But he's their chief, what is he? Chief, I just said it, medical correspondent. He didn't have anything else to add to that. Now, after the interview was over with Joe Rogan, Gupta went on record saying that part of me thought, quotes, part of me thought the MMA former Taekwondo champion might hurtle himself across the table and throttle my neck. Joe Rogan's never been aggressive toward anybody in any of those interviews. He'll question you. He'll push you, push you mentally, push you conversation-wise, not physically, of course, but he's never done any of that. All right, so it's clear that CNN misrepresented Joe Rogan, his health, his doctor's prescribed treatment, and Gupta's reaction to the interview solidified him as a certified bitch. When the media and big studios do their best to virtue signal and push gender swaps, race swaps, and feminist messaging, they get very defensive of their products. Shows like Robin Hood, films like Captain Marvel, and comedy specials like Nanette were received well by the critics, but failed to get the support from audiences. That said, the studio's artists and powers that would be, or that be, would often claim that these projects were being review bombed by their haters. This is false. They just suck that bad. And as someone who's a filmmaker, I get it. I don't make the best films in the world. And if someone went and watched my films and hated on them, I get it. The biggest budget film that I have done of my films, not that I've worked on, but of my films, I spent $900 on it. And everybody worked for free. Everybody had a good time doing it. And we do it again in a heartbeat. So if it's not the greatest film you've ever seen, it doesn't hurt my feelings. But I'm trying to be an artist and original. But these guys, it's all about that virtue signaling, getting that message across. Now, look, on top of that, you never hear the artists or studios complain about review bombing when the project does exceedingly well. Okay, with audience. For example, you can't tell me that the critics know what they're talking about when Nanette gets 100% critic score and a 26% audience score. But yet Dave Chappelle's Sticks and Stones gets a 35% from critics and a whopping 99% from audiences. The critics and the audience are not in alignment there, right? Was this review bombed by critics? They say that we review bomb stuff. Are the critics review bombing stuff? In summary, if the audience is telling you your show, film, or special sucked, it probably did. Get over it. Lastly, we see an image of Joe Biden with some construction workers in Wisconsin tweeted out from Democrat Senator Amy Klobuchar. In the picture, it's clear that Joe Biden is wearing a hard hat. Now, if you look closely, see if I can get in here. It's no zoom. Oh, well, I try to zoom. Maybe there's a better look. But look, we see an image of Joe Biden with the construction hat on backwards. Okay. While this is dumb, easily avoidable, and would be embarrassing if Joe was more than a walking corpse, the worst part about it is the fact that the fact checkers said he's not. They said that the claim that he's wearing his hat backwards is false. Now, Here's a before and after. Now, this is on Snopes. Snopes said that it's false. After U.S. President Joe Biden and Senator Amy Klobuchar visited a construction site in Superior, Wisconsin on January 25th, 2024 to unveil the administration's $5 billion infrastructure plan, Klobuchar posted a photo on X, formerly Twitter, of herself, Biden, and a group of construction workers celebrating in a local baroom. Social media users not particularly friendly to the president were quick to identify that they took to be what they took to be a gaffe on Biden's part. He appeared to be wearing the hard hat backwards. Here's some examples of what they said. The photo is genuine. It does look at first glance like Biden was wearing the hard hat backwards, but after comparing it to other photos in the videos, it seems like everything was fine, right? So they put some photos. Here's the guy wearing it. And if you'll notice right here, the nape, I believe is what it's called, is in the back. Nape of the neck. Nape is in the back. Now, the way the hat is constructed, or the way he's got it rigged up anyway, he's got the brim in the back. So he's wearing it like backwards, right? Which, it is what it is. But it's the harness that's built into it that determines which way you wear it. That nape always goes in the back. Okay. And as you see here, the nape is in the back as it's supposed to be. So they're using these for examples, saying that he's wearing it right. Okay. So this is Snopes, but this is Snopes as of January 27th. Okay. This is using the Wayback Machine. And if you don't know what the Wayback Machine is, it takes snapshots where people can take snapshots to kind of archive websites. But now, because they've gotten so much pushback, Snopes has revisited this and said, the claim is true. Editor's note, we received a ton of comments in a very short time challenging our assumption that wearing a hard hat backwards means wearing it with the bill facing to the rear, and forwards means wearing it bill to the front. On the basis of that assumption, we originally rated the claim that Biden was wearing a hard hat backwards as false. The prevailing counterargument is that if the suspension of the hat has been purposely configured by its owner such that the bill worn to the back with the strap and tightening knob under it, as the case of that hat worn by Biden, to wear that hat with the bill facing forward is practically speaking to wear it backwards. Therefore, it's argued it's actually true that the photo op discussed below, Biden was wearing it backwards. The strap and tightening knob, which should have been behind Biden's head, were on his forehead. A corollary to the argument is Biden looks damn silly in any case. So, going on here, we can read some more, but the point is they got a lot of pushback. They changed their opinion on it from false to true. And it takes people like, I'm going to put me in there because I'm speaking up, but it takes people like Mark Dice pointed out. And I hate it because he almost did it in the exact same way. But Andrew over at Don't Walk Run Productions covered this as well, and it's pretty much the same thing everyone says, that the nape, that little round guy, should always be in the back. It should never be in the front. Let me pull it back over here one more time. Let me blow it up right here. Better picture. That part right there, that nape, always goes in the back. It never, ever goes in the front. Anyone who's ever put on a construction hat knows this. And yet the Walking Dead right here hadn't figured that out yet. I say the Walking Dead. I don't mean any ill will toward the man. Not really anyway, but whatever. Look, this is dumb, easily avoidable, and would be embarrassing if Joe was more than a walking corpse. The worst part about it, the fact that fact checkers came into his defense. And there's other ones out there that aren't getting fact checked by us. We have not yet overwhelmed them, and they've changed it. Snopes, for example, is one that is very, very left-leaning and runs a lot of cover for President Biden and a lot of others. Let's see, just like most Americans that continue to be told that the economy has improved and things are better while still forking out more of their paychecks for necessities than in prior years, we're told not to believe our lying eyes because Bidenomics works, right? It's not hurting your wallet. Well, you know what? Grunt works, Coffee Brand Coffee. Those are companies that are doing a great job of maintaining their pricing and not using the excuse of inflation. I just got to throw that back out there again. But to my point, go to the grocery store. The prices are still going up. The wages for everybody are not going up, so it manipulates the numbers in a way that are not entirely accurate, but they sure love to use those numbers, don't they? While it's clear to anyone that's ever held or seen a hard hat, he's wearing it backwards, yada, yada, yada. Is this the tale of redemption, Art? Have we seen Snopes come out and say, oh, we got it wrong, forgive us, we'll never do it again? I don't think so. I think this is just the tale of enough Americans no longer willing to put up with the lies that the media is telling us. But there are plenty of other stories and sources like the news media and fact checkers that they would like you to think is real, but it's not. You may think it's a reliable source. It's not. So here we are fact checking the fact checkers. As far as fact checking goes, I would also recommend checking out Mark Dice and Andrew over at Don't Walk Run, because as far as independent creators go, those guys, and Mark does a fantastic job. Mark does some deep dives, but Andrew does a great production. I absolutely love watching his shows. Every time he comes out with a new one, I'm watching it. Mark, I watch every day. Andrew, I'm watching every time he puts it out. So as far as fact checking goes, if you like deep dives and really breaking things down, watch those two guys. I have links to their channels down below. They're fantastic. I'd give them a watch for sure.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out this clip from the Morning Mayhem. Remember, this is just a portion of the full show that comes out every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you hadn't already, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the full shows or these tasty little nuggets.